said his bank is among the most bearish on the economy as far as the growth forecast is concerned? Because you guys moved on that recently.
4.9%. It's not too far away from the government target. It's about 5%. So I don't see that it's totally bearish. In fact, that the government expect a downturn probably in the second half of the year. But of course, the number that we've got so far point to an earlier slowdown of the reopening. We talked about this youth unemployment before. It's might as well, you know, 1 out of 5 now don't have a job. So what do we do? And we saw this MLF 10 basis point. The key is whether we see a rebound in the property sector. I think that's the core issue.
Okay, that brings us nicely just to talk about, okay, January to May fixed investment rising 4%, estimates 4.4%. If you look at property investment, now that's something which has gotten worse. What we have here is a contraction of 7.2%. We were looking actually at a contraction of about 6.6, 6.7% there. So that is just showing you, which is probably the kernel of economic problems in China, the property market.
Absolutely. I think it's a question of confidence. It's not about whether there's 10 basis point or 15 basis point, that even if they have a larger degree of cut of the 5-year LPR, which is a benchmark for mortgage rates, not going to be very helpful. Property investment is a confidence issue. They probably need a larger package, including redefining their property stand and whether you see property as housing versus real estate. I think that's a major, probably most critical element they have to think about right now in terms of how to push for a cyclical rebound in the second half of the year.
Do they need to abandon that longer term commitment to at least cyclically get this back on track, and then maybe we can revisit these longer term objectives?
Well, I think they will stick to this policy on common prosperity sake, right? Because they like to have the middle class to grow, to reiterate the domestic demand and to boost consumption through improvement of income. But in the near term, so you've asked me about 25% of the economy is still property-driven, and you have a property slowdown, then how can we boost the economic momentum at the moment with this type of the lack of confidence issue in the private sector?
What does common prosperity mean, Raymond? I mean, is it levelling up or is it levelling down? I mean, this is the crucial part of it. The property side of things is people feeling less wealthy. We talk about it all the time. It's a question I ask all the time as well, which is a wealth effect. But how do you actually turn this around? We saw the MLF cut. We saw some of the deposit rate cuts. I mean, but 10 basis points, surely, you know, does it move the needle?
That's why they need a larger package, really, including not just about the monetary policy or the mortgage rate cut, but also to restore the confidence of the private sector, then say, hey, I still respect you guys in the household, having property as the store of value, as a store of wealth in the future, so that you can avoid the long-term deflationary story that will happen in China, that's 30 years ago in Japan. So how to gauge or how to manage the price expectation in the longer term is the biggest problem. PPI is negative 4.6% right last week. So this tells you the deflation story is coming, actually.